everyone, to another episode of Taking Up Space. This is Michelle Mir. This is a Michelle Alexandria Mir podcast. I know I said I wasn't coming back on. I wasn't. Until I logged on today and I found that I wasn't banned. I was banned for that day. It wasn't like I was banned for a stretch of time. And so, with all the stuff that was going on yesterday, I didn't realize how minimal it really was. But that's kind of like how it is in life. When you go through things, you expect it to be such a big deal because of all the little hiccups you've had along the way that have been so insurmountable. But the only reason I came on again today is because me getting banned was not TikTok's fault. It was my fault. I didn't know the rules. I didn't know that I wasn't supposed to drive. And so I can't blame anybody but myself for that. So I can't pick up my toys and go somewhere else because I broke the rules. I'm big on accountability. I don't run away from facing the truth. I'll search a thing out. Even if I'm wrong, I'll search it out, find out where I'm wrong, and come to terms with what led me to do that. Right my wrongs as much as I can and move on. And yesterday was an example of that. So that's why I came back on today, is because it was my fault that I got banned yesterday. It wasn't TikTok's fault. And so, and also I really thought about it like, okay, it's nobody's fault. I can't blame it on anyone that let me do this right now. That some of the live was choppy. 75% of it was choppy. It's part of the game. It's technology. So I have to keep going until something shows me that, it's beyond that and there's a pattern with it. I can let it go. But until then, I'm going to keep chipping away at it. So today what we're going to do is we're going to pick up where we left off at. I got a backup device recording in the background in case this particular form of technology does not sustain the conveyance of what I'm communicating to you. I can default to this backup and still maintain the integrity of the conversation and upload it. But today I want to pick up where I left off at yesterday. Yesterday I was speaking to, in the Bible study, Gideon, the story of Gideon and the Midianites and the Amalekites and the children of the east, all of these nations coagulating together against the house of Israel to siphon all of their energy. This premeditative act that all of these nations came into agreement to do because they didn't have what Israel had and they needed it to stay in power, to stay dominant. They needed to steal from other nations of people, and the most valuable, the richest, the most nutrient dense group of people that they could steal from were the Israelites. And I discussed how they went about doing it, how they ostracized these people. In a sense, they isolated them and put them in a state of illusion. They cast a level of illusion on these people because of the acts that they premeditatively waged against these people in siphoning all of their resources and using them as sacrifices so that they could be built up in the world. And the effects that such things had on these people put them in a poverty-ridden state. It put them in a depressive state. They're hiding amongst caves. They're living on the sides of mountains because they have no other way of feeling safe because of the ongoing attack, the daily attack being waged against these nations of people to keep them in a perpetual state of confusion, poverty. And because of that, how it weighed on their psyche, how it weighed on their emotional state, and how it made them view themselves against the world. They felt as if they had no one to help them. but God. And the Midianites, the Amalekites, and the children of the east would know this. They would premeditatively establish this type of vibration amongst the children so that nobody would come to their defense. They could create all kind of rhetoric against these people and legitimize mistreating these people because of what the nations would see the people behaving as. And they would say, well, they must have deserved it. Look at what life is like for them. Well, if they weren't like that, they wouldn't live like that. This must be something conducive to how they are as a people. This must be another one of those curses that God put upon them. They're a terrible investment. I'm going to go over here and invest in the Midianites and the Amalekites and the children of the east because they look like a great investment. They're constantly getting better. Not knowing that the only reason the Midianites and the Amalekites and the children of the east are constantly improving is because they're constantly stealing, siphoning all of the resources, all of the power, all of the natural gifts that are bestowed upon these people organically. They come and made it their business to come and premeditatively put these people in a state of illusion, cast an illusion on them so that they can siphon this. And in doing so, they look as if they are what the Israelites truly are. They take on the mantle of who the Israelites truly are. They mimic the things that the Israelites say. They steal the ideas that the Israelites organically come up with, and they implement them with the money that they have siphoned from Israel by stealing all of what is produced of them. Isn't that something? It's brilliant when you think about it. It is brilliant. The wickedness, the level of disintegrity is brilliant. And the world would not care to know enough or to investigate enough to find out the truth. Because it looks good. It looks legitimate. I see these Midianites and the Amalekites. They're prestigious people. They come from renowned families. I know their mom. I know their dad. I know their cousin. I know their such and such. They have relationships in my genre, in my industry. They have people that'll vouch for them. So I believe what they say. I've known them. Yet these Israelites were bound to a particular law. And God said, you don't mingle with everybody. You don't even go amongst everybody. So I don't know these Israelites. I've heard of them. I don't know any of them. I don't know what's true, and I don't know what's not true. Neither does anyone that I know these people. Who can I find that knows these people? That can give me the inside scoop of these people? Friend, God will lead you in a way just like this. There will be no one that will be able to speak for you. And if they do, they're going to tell a story 20, 30 years old. They have nothing new to discuss. And if they do discuss things 20 or 30 years ago, they're not anything that you would be embarrassed to hear. Because of the way that God led you. Even in your floozy years or in your tough guy years. You didn't go too far where you made a mockery of your foundation. You always had some level of character about yourself. Some level of honor and integrity fundamentally going on. And this is why God was able to use you the way that God has been able to use you. Yet this is the main reason the Israelites, this is the main reason the Midianites and the Amalekites and the children of the east can scapegoat you. This factor, the distinguishment between you and them, the fact that you never were thirsty enough to really go amongst them and try to befriend them. You honored what God established in you. You took pride in yours. You focused on yours. You did you. But in doing you, if you do not align closely to God, friend, and even if you do align closely to God, if God wants to use you and set you in front of the Midianites, the Amalekites, and the children of the East, he will do so. And these activities in which they are doing to the Israelites in the book of Judges, they will do to you for a season. For a season. So we spoke to all of these things yesterday. But what the portion of the conversation that I really want to get in today is the fact that Gideon's situation with these Midianites is very similar to Joseph's. This is what brought me to this Gideon analogy yesterday. It was right on time because Bible study was due to be done, and here we are in the book of Judges. So I used the story of Gideon, but it was the story of Joseph that brought me to this thought process. Joseph and his 12 brothers. Joseph too would be betrayed by his brothers. Instead of the entire nation being attacked, this same thing would happen with none other than Joseph by his own house. His 11 brothers will betray him. No one would know of the situation between Joseph and his brothers, but Joseph and his brothers. His father wouldn't even know. And the reason why Joseph's brothers were so comfortable in doing it is because they had all come to an agreement. They bound themselves to somewhat of a covenant to keep this thing a secret. It was such a monumental sin, a disgrace. It was so monumentally disgraceful that they, like the fallen ones that bound themselves to something similar on Mount Hermon, when they decided to come and mate amongst the women, they decided to create a line in the sand to say, okay, this is the demarcation point. This is our new life. We're not going to be able to go back beyond this. And if we get caught, we got to bind ourselves to this mutual agreement. We will not betray one another. We're going to stand in this. We already know what's going to come from this if it comes to light, and it will, because how do we hide it from God? We will only be able to hide it for a short amount of time. But if we work the plan, the activity will justify itself. We will begin to multiply amongst men. The deed will be done. Then we can withstand the judgment that will come from it. This was the mutual imprecations that were created in the covenant that they bound themselves to on Mount Hermon. Joseph's brothers bound themselves to the same type of thing when they all created a lie. They sat amongst each other and created a lie out of jealousy, fear, and envy to erase what was unerasable. To say that their brother had been unalived, but he was not. He was cast out into the wilderness by his own house. The gift, the seer, the avatar that God was using and would use to bless the entire family. The one that put them legitimately on the map, Joseph. Before Joseph, they were just tent dwellers, somewhat nomadic. They roamed from place to place. Joseph gave them roots in a mighty kingdom, the mightiest kingdom in the world. Joseph put prestige into the house. Joseph put a foundation of structure down that none of the other brothers could do. Had it not been for Joseph, surely God would have worked something. But Joseph's doing in Egypt was a blessing to all of those brothers that betrayed him in ways that they could never repay. Neither could they ever communicate the total extent of the blessing to Joseph. And they did it because they knew, or they felt as though no one would ever know. There was no cost associated with it. There was no penalty. This is what I mean by when people don't respect the system. People don't respect life. When you're dealing with the extremes and you've been on the extreme side of things so long, you become numb. You become detached from reality. You're so used to being like the Midianites and the Amalekites and the children of the East. Every year you go siphoning. Let me go siphon. You've gotten rhythmic in your siphoning. It's become a way of life for you. You go and you siphon from those that carry nutrients that you feel you need. You spend the majority of your year prospecting for these people. Using the gifts that God has blessed you with. All the stuff of God. Your talents. Your ability to have risen in rank and to garner the respect of men and women. And you use that against God's children. How do you do that? You come amongst them and you say a mere hello to them. You invite them to something. And they feel special. Goes back to what I said about when I was younger, go to the club and they give you an invite. And you're like, oh, wow, such and such invited me to their party. They give you that corruptible crown, friend. They give you that invite. You get to the party. And you're like, darn, I'm here with all these people. How lucky am I? You think it's a good thing. Meanwhile, it's all a part of a plan to steal from you that which they don't have. They're mere projections of it. They don't have it, though. The Midianites, the Amalekites, and the children of the East are mere projections of it. All because of the siphonings, the different siphonings that they've taken from the table that they sit before, all the delicacies of the table that they have, and the different kinds of fruits and the different kinds of meats and the different kinds of breads that they partake of so abundantly, and the glasses and goblets of wine and the cisterns of water. They ingest all of these things. They siphon and ingest all these things. And they take on emanations of them. They take the nutrients that come from them to make themselves strong. So they seem as if they are those things. They seem like they possess those ideas. They seem as if they came up with those terms. They're just regurgitating things from real truth. They're just regurgitating things from the source that they have siphoned such information from. The Midianites, the Amalekites, and the children of the East. This is what they do. Meanwhile, you're looking at the children of Israel like there's some sort of an anomaly. Because when you look at them, there's still a level of regality to them. They're the source. And even in their distressed state, that's been layered upon by much illusion, you get glimpses of the regality here and there. It could be in mannerisms, words they choose, their ability to keep going, their ability to see opportunity, their ability to multiply whatever they put their attention to, multiplies and is blessed. And you see the connection, the pattern in that. Wow, regardless of what these people are going through, they're going through a lot. But look at how blessed they always are. It's going to be something that's going to tweak your interest. It's going to speak to the God aspect in you. Even if it's just a little glimmer here and there. I'm here to tell you that in today's society, we must get beyond the illusionary state. Got to get past it. Because as I said in yesterday's Hey Friend, it is these illusionary states that many are bound to after entering into certain circles or reaching certain thresholds in life. It's as if in order to enter into those circles, you must take on the mantle of illusion. Why? Because you are aligning to people that did not have tools already when they entered into those circles. Yet to ascend in those circles without appropriate tools, you are depending on the extremes. And you have now found rest in the extremes. And the extremes have somewhat corrupted you. They've corrupted you in a way that you can't face the truth of you. It's too heavy. It's oil and water. So in order to get through it day to day, to make it manageable, you've got to cast illusions upon yourself. Heavy illusions. It's become your life. Illusions. You know how you wake up and you get up and you go do some get coffee and you read the paper or you go on social media and you look around and then you go and you do some work or what have you. Go home and kick back with the family. You got people that get up and begin casting illusions. Illusions are their livelihood. All of it is a lie. All of it. Deep levels of illusion. How deep do you want to go? Just illusions everywhere. Yet God is saying to the children of Israel in this state that they're in with the Midianites, I know exactly what's going on with these Midianites and the Amalekites and the children of the East. I know how they are sacrificing y'all and siphoning from y'all. They're not just sacrificing and siphoning from one people. They go from one to the next, to the next, to the next. The children of the east, the Midianites and the Amalekites, came up every year and did this. This was annual. And they did it predominantly to the children of Israel because they had the richest, most dense, most nutrient gifts. And because they knew that they could isolate these people. And that nobody would come to their defense. Because nobody knew them. And they could cast illusions. They could create a storyline on these people and say whatever they wanted. And the children of Israel would not know what the illusion was that is being cast upon them. They wouldn't get a neighboring nation to come and say, the Midianites are saying you're this and that. Did you know the Midianites are saying this and that about you? Nobody would say anything. So they would not know how to defend themselves. They wouldn't even know where to begin. And if the children of Israel came forward and brought these things up, they would potentially take the risk of looking as if they are starting something, or if they're misaligned in some way. They could be easily refuted because they really don't have any grounds, tangible grounds, to reference in bringing such things up. They're fighting a ghost. They're fighting a ghost. The Midianites and the Amalekites and the children of the east could come forward and say, okay, well, you can say that we do come up and we do take all of your sustenance every year. But it's our land. The children of Israel are on the Amalekites' land. So they could say, it's our land, we'll do what we want to do. But all this other stuff, the girth, the real meat of your dispute or your discrepancy with us, that you're claiming or that really should be refuted, is a ghost. It's a ghost. And God would know this. And this is why God would send the angel to Gideon. God will send the angel to Gideon and speak life to Gideon. And Gideon would not fear. When the angel comes to Gideon, as I said yesterday, he's threshing wheat in a wine press. He hasn't given up on himself. Is he downtrodden? Absolutely. You can tell by the way he's talking to himself. Who wouldn't be? Friend, I don't care if you are the most humble person in the world. I don't care if you are the most egotistical person in the world. You let situations like that come upon you. It will show you who you are. And most people, when they find themselves in situations such as the Israelites being siphoned left and right by these people, would resort to disintegrous activity to fight them back. But not Gideon. Gideon is threshing wheat in a wine press, talking to himself. While he's threshing the wheat, he's reminding himself of all that has befallen him and his family of people. And God will tell Gideon, go and corral the people. After testing and trying Gideon to see if Gideon is afraid, if he will allow fear to stop the flow of spiritual water in his life. After Gideon passes the test, God says, go, corral the people. Bring them together. And when you corral the people, I want you to see how many of them. Chapter 7, verse 2. And the Lord said unto Gideon, the people are with thee. I'm going to read chapter 7, verse 1. Then Jerubbaal, who was Gideon, and all the people that were with him rose up early and pitched beside the well of Herod, so that the host of the Midianites were on the north side of them by the hill of Moreh in the valley. And the Lord said unto Gideon, the people that are with thee are too many for me to give the Midianites into their hands, lest Israel vaunt themselves against me, saying, mine own hand have saved me. God already knows how these people are. God leads the hardest way. Friend, if you're fighting with the Midianites and the Amalekites and the children of the east, and you're like, why am I dealing with this still? God, these people have shown time and time again that they don't care about you. You have given these people an out in ways that is somewhat embarrassing. And they have laughed in your face. And God's saying, I know. I'm a patient God. I'm long-suffering, friend. I'm going somewhere with this. There's not going to be a doubt of the legitimacy of my actions when I begin to act on these people. They're all going to know that it was deserving of them. They created it. I have been long-suffering. I have been so patient. I have allowed you to see what they think of you. I have allowed you to see how they will treat you. I have allowed them to see firsthand their own capabilities. I have allowed them to imagine within their own mind wickedness against one another, including you. And it will be for them. I'm telling you this. And the Lord said unto Gideon that there were too many people. And I need you to get rid of some of these people. Because I don't want any of y'all thinking that it was you that did this. I want the least advantaged space. Now therefore go to proclaim in the ears of the people, saying, whosoever is fearful and afraid, let him return and depart from the Mount Gilead. And they returned of the people 22,000. So 22,000 left that said they were afraid. This is the process. How many times in the Bible does God say, do not fear? He doesn't say it because he just needs to start a sentence with that. Do not fear. It sounds good. Do not fear. No, there's purpose to that. You need to control fear. You cannot ever get rid of fear. You can't purge fear out of your life. You must control it. And the only way you control fear is by alignment, by your spiritual alignment, your knowing of your alignment through activity. That's the only way you get a handle on fear. That is the only way that you have enough courage to turn and face fear in its face and ask it its name. And not only ask it, you command it. What is your name? And then after you ask it its name, who sent you? Who do you answer to? This is your divine alignment. This is your truth. This is what separates you from a beggar, from someone that can't do such things because they don't see themselves worthy, because they have not acted in such a way in their lives to command such authority. And the Lord said unto Gideon, the people are yet too many. Bring them down into the water, and I will try them for thee there. And it shall be that of whom I say unto thee, this shall go with thee, the same shall go with thee. And whosoever I say unto thee, this shall not go with thee, the same shall not go. So God says, okay, Gideon, you've done good. You've asked the people, you gave them an out. All of you guys that are afraid, that don't really want to be a part of this war we're going to wage against the Midianites that are sacrificing us and stealing from us, you can leave. 22,000 left. And there remain 10,000. And God says, okay, that's still not enough. God is saying to Gideon, these people are putting on a happy face. They really don't. They really do fear. But they want to act like strong men because they have reputations amongst one another that they want to uphold. I will choose them. God is saying to Gideon, a number of things are going on right now, friend. This fight that you got going on with the Midianites and the Amalekites and the children of the east is being led by spirits. You see it as people. I see it as spirits. I'm fighting against the heads, the spirits that these people honor. And you're fighting against the spirits that they honor, legmen, their footmen, their armies. These 10,000 are not all fearful. There are still some amongst these 10,000 that are fearful. It is imperative that when we go to war with these people, we purge all of the impurities out of our army. There cannot be one vessel that is laden down with fear, because that one vessel will compromise us. This is what God is saying. God is also saying, friend, there are spiritual eyes on this. Enemies to what I'm doing through you in the invisible realm that are privy to all that's going on. I need to cast my essence over this, my wisdom, so that nobody can track me. Nobody can trace your movements through me, of me. So when I tell you who you will select, that's who you're going to select. From this point on, I'm going to take over the selection process. This 10,000, I'm going to choose of the 10,000 who goes and who doesn't. So he brought down the people into the water, and the Lord said unto Gideon, every one that lappeth of the water with his tongue, as a dog lappeth, him shalt thou set by himself. Likewise, every one that boweth down upon his knees to drink. God will select those that lapped over those that went down on their knees. And God would say to Gideon, it is by these 300 that you will go and you will overtake the Midianites. Friend, it will be your 300. It's not numbers. It's not the acquisition of things. It's the quality. It's not how much someone has. We got to get a handle on this, because this is what the Midianites and the Amalekites and the children of the east were using against Israel. They were sacrificing by numbers. They were siphoning by large volumes. All of the nutrients and the nourishment of the house. But God is saying to Gideon, what you are going to do to overcome you're going to exterminate these people. You're not even going to overcome them, friend. Overcome is not even, you're going to lay them down. You are going to end this level of wickedness that has been going on by these people against this house. Just utter wickedness. And the wickedness that they would end would be the sustenance that these nations would be using from this house to create dominance in the world for themselves. It was the only way that their light could shine. The world would look at them and say, look how dominant they are. They've been dominant all this time. The only reason they've been dominant is because they've been siphoning from Israel. You know how many people they siphon from? Legitimizing what God would do to these people. The Bible said they were doing this for 7 years. 7. Every year. And when they siphoned, they took everything. Everything. Israel is sustaining 3 nations of people for 7 years. And they're still in existence. Gideon's threshing wheat in a wine press. There's still something going on. And sit. Go sit. And God says with these 300, I don't need quantity. I need quality. And that's the storyline for many of you. It's quality over quantity. I'd rather sit by myself. This will be a one-girl production over here. Lest I find quality. Because with what God will work through me, I can get it done. Yet if I just add head count, bodies, that will do nothing but slow me down. That will slow my productivity down, and it will slow my output down. Whereas if I was just doing it off of what I know, I'd be multiplying left and right. And that's the truth for many of you. It's quality over quantity. And it's not illusion based. We don't care about the perception. In fact, I would love to hear what you think. I want to hear what your perceptions are. Because then I can determine if you're the quality of person that I need to even pay attention to. It's quality over quantity. God will tell Gideon, what I'm going to do through you, Gideon, because you did not fear these people. That was the problem everybody had along the way. Is either they feared these people, or because of their disintegrous, because of the wickedness that these people expounded upon Israel, those of Israel would justify doing disintegrous things against one another or against these people in defending themselves, taking them out of alignment with God. See, this is the special sauce. And this is the biggest trick that the enemy pulls on people. He will come amongst you with an audacious crime. What these people are doing, they're coming every year stealing. They're stealing ideas. They're stealing tangible items. They're stealing identities. They're stealing resources. They got these people living on the sides of mountains and caves. They have limited who can interact with these people. They have cast lies and illusions on these people so that nobody will come and even question them. all to frustrate them, to get them in a place of negativity so that they don't depend on their God any longer. They decide to take matters in their own hands. They become their own God and they go out and they wage war. They fight fire with fire. That's not what you do. You will not win that way. There needs to be an intelligence factor upheld. And it can't be no cat and mouse. It's alignment. The wisdom you get through alignment is nowhere near cat and mouse. It's big cat energy, friend. I'm talking about nocturnal in a way that just you can't trace. It goes beyond physicality. It goes from physicality to the invisible and back. It's dualistic. You will have eyes beyond what your physical eyes see. You will hear beyond what your physical ears hear. Your senses are heightened. Your knowing is reinforced. God says to Gideon, Gideon, verse 16 of chapter 7, and he divided the 300 men into 3 companies, and he put a trumpet in every man's hand with empty pitchers and lamps within the pitchers. He breaks the 3 down into 3 companies. 3 divisions. And he gives each man pitchers and lamps within the pitchers, as well as trumpets. So all these 3 companies are manned by earthen vessels. Our bodies are an earthen vessel. They are a vessel that houses the Spirit of God within it. And it was made of the things of this earth. And then Gideon gives them a trumpet, a sounding board, a voice. And Gideon gives them pitchers, earth in vessel, with lights in it. And he said unto them, look on me and do likewise. Gideon comes to these 300 and says, follow what I do. The recipe is what I have done. All on the same accord. We all got the same sound. We all got the same stuff. Follow what I do. And God would allow it to be Gideon to establish this. Why? Because he led in the truth and the integrity of God. It is the Spirit of God that is flowing through Gideon that allows him to lead these people. It is not through Gideon's own might and his own intelligence. It is the ability for Gideon to lessen himself and humble himself to the power, to real power. And to use his faculty, his own avatar, the computer, the system that the power created, activating him. He's activated. And Gideon himself will multiply both he and to another with the earthen vessel and the trumpet and the fire in the vessel. We're looking at multiplication. And we're looking at God using one from amongst the people to lead the people. Someone amongst you that you can not pray to and all that kind of stuff. Gideon didn't say pray to me and make me your God. No. Gideon said God is flowing through me. And what I do is because God is doing it in me. And whatever I do, you do too. While God's power is flowing through me during this monumental moment. And what they will do is they will go and they will say the word, and they have this sound, and they would say the word with their own vessels, and they will blow these horns, and they would crack open the vessel, the cistern, and allow the light to shine forth. Israel lights. This is the whole nature of the term. Israel light. You are the light of the world. Israel light. You don't fear a Midianite, Amalekite, or the children of the east. The only reason that they have been dominant and they got away with what they were doing was because of your ignorance. And they capitalized on it. They're preying on one another. These people look like Israelites at this point. How? Because they've siphoned everything that was of Israel. Israel has made them who they are. How could they not look like them? They're imposters. They look like Israelites, but they don't want to have any connection to Israel. They look like the Hebraic house, but they don't want to have any connection to the Hebrews. Oh, don't tell me I'm a Hebrew. I don't want anything. No, I'm not a Hebrew. I'm this, I'm that, I'm this and that. But the Hebrew house, all of its power is what's nurturing you. Everything you're eating, everything that you're ingesting, all that's making you look glowy and dewy and sharp and polished is of the Hebraic house. People will speak negatively of you while eating off of your plate, friend. Hand to mouth. Right off your plate. Meanwhile, you're not eating off of anybody's plate. You got your own plate that God prepared for you. In the presence of your enemies. Your own plate. You don't ever have to eat off somebody else's plate. God has perfected you in a way that you don't ever desire to eat from somebody else's plate. I don't want your plate. Your plate. Is that what you guys are doing? I don't do that. I don't eat off anybody else's plate, friend. I wasn't raised. I don't come from a family of people that do that. My father hasn't led me that way. I come in the representation of something greater than that. I have my own plate. This is that. You know, when we look at the Bible and we look at all these monumental stories, God is always showing these people that it is through their alignment to God that their success comes. They always seem to get it mixed up. It will always seem like after one success, they misalign and they get lost in the sauce of whatever it is that they're lost into, only for another emergency to show up, and then they line right back. This is a story of constant alignment. Many of us can relate. I know my life has been full of it. I'm not judging. I'm testifying. My life has been a life of constant alignment and paying attention to patterns, the things that I go through, and then how I realign it, how God realigns me. and the things I see along the way. It's an ongoing process. It's a never-ending process. It's not for your creation was not to be food for the Midianites and the Amalekites and the children of the East. That was not your creation. God did not create the Hebraic house so that all of the gifts that God blessed them with turn into curses. That was not it. God created the Hebraic house to show the power of himself amongst all of his children. Not to say one is better than the other, but to play on their core aspects by doing a thing through a group of people that would spawn the interest, the core interest, and create a longing in them to be able to pinpoint that attribute within each and every one of us by focusing his attention on a group of people to create a longing in those stiff-necked people. And that longing, the fact that you couldn't be included, would make them act in ways that if they ever were included, they would act and they would hold on to that inclusiveness with all they have. They would take it seriously. And there are many along the path of this. There are some that haven't completely absorbed the idea of being part of the fold. There are some still in the wilderness that don't want to align. Everybody's not going to get it in the same lifetime. There are some that desire to align. There are some that are on the threshold of aligning. Everybody's in different places. Thus is the game of life. The different degrees of which we're all standing as it relates to our own personal walk in discovering the God within us. But at the end of the day, you've got to be able to face yourselves. You've got to be able to stand in your own decisions and own them, because that's all you will have is you. Everything falls away but you. Many sit at the buffet table of decisions. The things that you ingest that make up the body of who you are, that provide nourishment. Same stuff that the Midianites, Amalekites, and children of the East came to steal from Israel and siphon every year so that they had enough sustenance to guarantee a successful year the next year, until they depleted that and they come and they siphon more. What we find is that with Gideon, the siphoning would stop. He would end this process. And in ending this process, the Midianites and the Amalekites and the children of the East all would return to dust because they would not have anything else to siphon. There would be nothing within them organically that would be able to sustain them at the levels in which they were being sustained by Israel. They would take a drastic fall. They will be leveled just from this one decision. God saying no more. You don't get to feast off of these people. I did not do such a thing for these people, for them to be your nourishment. And I will show you just how nourishing they have been to you. Because I'm going to stop your siphoning of innocent people. That you got more, you done siphon from so many people, you can't even count them. Can't even count them. When the Midianites and the Amalekites and the children of the east came up, they're taking everybody's stuff. This is a huge nation of people. We've got to understand this. They're doing a lot of people dirty. And this one man, Gideon, is approached by an angel. God can find one person worthy to use as a vessel, and it will be Gideon. It was nothing monumental about Gideon. He didn't want to do it. He makes the angel come back so many times, friend. He like, I know you're tired of me, friend, but I need to see another miracle, because I don't know if you're really of God, and what you're asking me to do is really, really a lot. I need to see a miracle. And the angel is patient. He shows him a miracle. Gideon says, I saw that, and that looked like a miracle, but I'm not an expert as to what demons do, and I'm not an expert as to what God does. So I still don't know if this is God. I need to see another one. Angel says, okay, I'll show you another one. Separate instance. Gideon says, yeah, but I'm not really sure still. This is how big of a deal the angel asking Gideon to do a thing was. The angel asked Gideon to go knock down some altars. And to us, it sounds like it's nothing. Okay, go knock some altars down. This is huge. This is definitely an end your life scenario. If Gideon gets caught, they're going to not just end his life, they're going to do him dirty, friend. This is old world stuff where people will sit up and plot on all kind of wicked kind of ways to get at you. And this was at the top of the list. This is like something you don't do unless you want the worst of the worst scenario. But Gideon does it. He did not fear them. He feared God more than he did them. What do you do when God comes upon you in spirit and leads you to a thing? Do you tell God no? How does that work out for you? I want somebody to come and tell me what that was like when you told God no. Because every time I see it, it gets done regardless. Whether it's Jonah or Gideon, it gets done regardless. And because he didn't fear these people. And most importantly, because he was able to be met when he entered into the circle without even knowing he entered into the circle. He was ready. The extremes didn't corrupt him. What do I mean? When the siphoning happened by the Midianites and the Amalekites and the children of the east, it didn't corrupt his output. He didn't resort to wickedness to fend it off. He didn't fight the wickedness with wickedness, making him non-usable by God. He kept himself in an integrous state. It is vital that you do such, that you hold your own self accountable, that you don't go the road of least resistance. You don't take the easy path. You get adjusted to the difficult path so that it's your default setting. Because if not, when difficulties come upon you in life, you will look to bunker down into the easy path, and you will corrupt yourself and make yourself non-usable. And in you being non-usable, God cannot cover you. And if God can't cover you, you'll be usable to that which you are looking to fight off. They'll be able to have their way with you. This is what distinguished Gideon. It wasn't because he was strong and courageous, and he was courageous because he didn't fear. It was that he had a level of integrity. He could be used by God. Some of you are so expensive because of the way God has led you. And you've accrued such levels of experience in this life all throughout your life till you've reached a particular junction in life that you're at now where you are extremely expensive. This is Gideon. He's expensive. He is God's investment. And this is why God said, these 22,000, ask them who's afraid, because it's too many people. All of these people are not exquisite like I need you to be. Can't possibly be. If they were, y'all wouldn't be in this situation. And they actually, these 32,000, the 22,000 of the 32,000 left, leaving them with 10,000. God said, no, it's still too many. I'll choose. And how does he determine it? Go over there by the water. I know all of them are thirsty. Turn the water on. Tell me how many of them lap up that water like a dog. Lap it up. And how many of them go down on their knees for the water? It's the dog in you, friend. It's the dog in you. When it's all said and done, after the softness, after the motivational speeches, after the prayer time, it's the dog in you. I'm here to tell you, it's the dog. It's that fight in you. That's what God wants to see. But not any kind. It's that fight aligned and tempered in truth. Friend, you don't want to see it. When you know your fight is tempered in character-driven truth, love. I'm not talking about just love because I love it and I don't want to be by myself and no. Righteousness, truth, integrity, honesty. Truth. I've done these things because I love it. I'm looking to do the righteous thing. I have studied this. I have done everything I could. I have dictated myself in a way that holds me accountable to this. That type of truth. Not swindling, siphoning from people, stealing from people, sacrificing people because you're afraid and because of your selfish desires to stay aligned to wickedness that you proactively and intentionally align to. Not that. God is talking about righteousness out of love for your house. You got two groups of people, the Midianites, the Amalekites, and the children of the east, and you got the Israelites. And both of them are passionate in their stances. Midianites, Amalekites, and the children of the east want to keep their role. They want to keep their abundance coming. They want to keep their level of prominence that they are able to manufacture by way of what they're stealing from Israel. They want to keep that face going to the world. They want to keep that monetary success. They want to keep that level of prestige. Yet, what does Israel want? They want to be able to honor both themselves, their God, and their family. They want to both, man and woman, stand as men and women in alignment to God and do the righteous thing and represent themselves righteously and live in peace and be able to see the fruits of all that they create manifest in their lives and have it trickle down into their families' lives instead of having it stolen. They want their truth to be reflected and not obscured by liars through illusion. And it is these truths, these desires, tempered by truths, that'll bring the dog out of you, friend. You don't want to see it. It will bring the dog out of you. There is no fear in that. Fear cannot vibrate at that space. It must bow down and be used by the one that dominates in that space. This is what God is speaking to when he speaks to who did what? Did they lap that water up? They get down on their knees. Trust the pipe. Open their mouth wide and just let whatever come out flow in it. You just trust it. Just this. Or did you get that water? You got it in your hands. You see what's in it. It's in your hands. You take from your own hands. These people would do these things to these children because they could. No other reason. Because they felt that they had created a system. They had did it so long, they had gotten it to a point of a science. All of the illusions they had created before, it was just repetitive. Isolating these people, they had done it before. They knew the science behind it. And they knew the science of how these things together created such a monumental illusion that you could say whatever you wanted and people will believe it. They would never feel the need to investigate any deeper because they knew them. They were prominent in particular industries. And because what they saw, these people projected them in that illusionary lie that those that were stealing from them had set up. But God said no. God said, give me a reason. I just need one of you to have enough courage and to take me seriously enough to align and let me lead the way. My word for you today. All is well. You love more than you'll ever know. I'll never stop telling you. And I mean it. You love more than you will ever know. And that has nothing to do with no ethnicity. It has nothing to do with region. It has to do with the fact that you are God's creation. God's beloved. And God does not play about you, friend. Here to tell you. Be good to yourselves and be good to one another. Peace and love.